Well, good morning. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone. We're here to interview today one of our newest ministers. I feel very honored. And this is Reverend Lori Savage.
Mhm.
She says that she likes to be got which her title is the Grand Poobah. She said, but Reverend will do.
I was just joking. I can't
I
help myself.
but I thought that was funny. Yes, I call myself the irreverent reverend. So, I think it's good to have those little fun, playful titles.
Yes.
So,
And maybe Grand Poobah stick.
maybe you never know. That's better than some other names you might be called these days. You just don't know. I like that name. So, Lori, we were talking before we went on, and I was trying to think of how many years ago it was that I met you. I was at the Westlake
Mm.
Church with Dr. James Mellon, visiting my children that weekend, and I thought any opportunity I get to hear Dr. James speak, I take advantage of it. So I went to service, and he was gracious and introduced that I was here. And then after the service, I saw you running over there. And so you were coming to the desert.
I was. So it was after we bought our house out here, but before we moved out here, obviously. So probably, 3 years ago, I would say, because we
That's
bought the house about a year before we actually retired and moved out here. So yeah, I was so excited because I got to meet somebody from the Palm Desert Church, and I was just thrilled to tell you I'm coming.
yeah. I thought, oh, in fact, I came back. I told Dr. said, oh, I met a new person that's coming, she's practitioner. Maybe you were in practitioner studies, or
I
you had just
probably was still in practitioner studies at that point.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was nice to meet you, and we're happy you're at our center. And
Thank
so,
you.
and then you were telling me beforehand you're actually going into the doctorate program to get your doctor.
Well, I'm going into advanced consciousness studies, and we'll see if that turns into a doctorate. Right now, it's a very individualized course study, so we'll see how that works out. It's all being worked on. It's in the ethers right now. But I'm just excited to get into that class. It's going to be
They
Dr.
don't like,
James is calling it the room where it happens.
oh wow. Well, and not everybody is accepted into that. So that is quite an honor, and we're very blessed to have one of our own in that class.
Oh, thank you.
So let's get to know you some more. I would like
All
to get
right.
so tell us a fun fact about yourself.
Oh. So fun fact. Oh, my whole life I never had a nickname. And before Grand Poobah, I never had a nickname. Even as a little kid, I didn't have a nickname, and I got one as an adult a few years ago. My friends Brian and Gilmore call me Witchy Woman.
Which
That's my nickname, because I tend to be a little intuitive, and
oh
you
wow.
know, I guess that's where that comes from. So that's my nickname. That's
Uh,
a little bit of a fun fact, and I think it's unusual for kids not to have nicknames. Usually, there's
I
some
never had
little.
it. I did have a nickname in junior high. I was Nose because they said I had a big nose, and I remember, and I did. I mean, I did have my nose done, but not like a lot. Just I didn't want to change my whole look. But I remember going to my 20th, and I didn't win. They nominated me for Big Nose in ninth grade, but I didn't win. And I was at my 20th reunion, and the girl that did win, she was in the bathroom, and I said, we were in there washing her hands. I said, great nose. And she looked at me and she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you beat me out as big as nose, and your nose looks fabulous. And I had mine done, so I know. So that was the only nickname, and I didn't really like that nickname. So that was, but as
We did not have that award in our class.
right.
That wasn't a category.
Well, I think there were some mean kids that were on the
Hmm.
annual and said, "Oh, let's do this."
Yeah, I
So
don't think that would fly today.
no, no,
No,
no, that's
no.
true. So give us then one of your favorite childhood memories. And now while we're talking about things.
Oh, I was kind of a contemplative little kid. Looking back, I think I was a little odd that way. I loved my quiet time. I lived in a small town, 3 houses on my street, and
Wow.
it was like a horseshoe, and I would go walking up to the top of my street, and for some reason, there was a little red rock. Why this red rock was there, but it was in the woods off the side of the street, and I would go sit on it and just think. And then I would go for long walks in the woods, and I look back now and I think, "Well, that was kinda dangerous," because I wasn't, I mean, but in a small town, and back then, that's what you did as a kid, as a 8, 9-year-old, you just went wandering, and you came home when it got dark. And, I remember one day I was sitting in the grass and I guess I was meditating. Of course, I didn't know what meditation was. And I was just staring at the grass and thinking about how interesting it was that there were all these individual blades and, having this kind of conversation in my head. And suddenly I had this experience of like exploding into a million pieces out into the universe and
Wow.
just becoming one with everything. And then boom, back into my body and went, whoa. And it really impacted the rest of my life, as you can imagine. I kind of forgot about it as I got older,
How old
and
were you?
adolescence. Oh, probably 7, 8 years old.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So it's funny. I think when I found this teaching, and I heard about oneness, I connected to that moment, and I'm almost tearing up now thinking about it because there was something in me that just always knew that was the truth, and yet I didn't think anybody else did. So I grew up, Catholic, Roman Catholic. It did not stick to me at all. It was like water off a duck's back. They would say something, I go, "Oh, that can't be right." That's not it. I mean, I get they're grown-ups and they should know this stuff, but I don't think they got this right. And
Yeah.
I just really didn't pay attention. And it's interesting when I talk to other Catholics and they'll mention different things and I think, "God, I missed all that. What are you talking about? I don't remember that at all." So, it religious science, this teaching, Ernest Holmes and New Thought, it just resonated with something deep inside of me. When I heard it, it was like I came full circle back to that moment and went, "Oh, yes, this is the truth I've known all along." And it got covered up by some other things throughout my early life, but it was still present. And the second I heard that, it just came exploding forward again for me. And, I walked into a church, my first church, and I never left. And that was 20 years ago. And you hear that story, over and over again
Yeah.
that people recognize there's something within them that knows, yeah, I'm home and these are
Right.
my people. I found my people.
My peeps.
I
My
had to
peeps.
move
Right.
3,000 miles away to do that because there was no New Thought, in the area I lived in.
Right.
A lot of New Age, but no New Thought. And so coming to California, I almost think that's why I was so driven to get to California.
Well, where were
Uh,
you from? Where
Massachusetts, a small town called Granby outside of Springfield,
okay.
Western Mass, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to the Boston area.
Right. Oh,
So,
oh my gosh. Isn't that
yeah.
something? Yeah. It's amazing how spirit I was raised Catholic too. And I remember being in first or second grade, I think first grade, and the nuns telling us, "Oh, you are so blessed to be Catholic because we are the one true religion and we're the only ones that are going to go to heaven if we follow these rules and so forth." And I'm sitting there thinking,
Mhm.
well, no, my next door neighbor, the Hawthorns, they're not Catholic and they're wonderful people.
Mhm.
Why that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me that God would not want them. So I there were
Yeah.
just a bunch of things that I'd go the same as you, like children are wiser than than their parents give them credit for sometimes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
we were discerning, enough to say, "Well, no, this can't be right."
right.
Because what am I think it was the version of God that God had a personality that could be judgmental or jealous or angry or any of those things. I thought, well, humans have that.
Right.
I mean, I need something more
Right.
than
Well, it's funny because when I was in Catholic church school and stuff, even with Jesus, I somehow didn't resonate, but I did resonate with the Blessed Virgin. I just felt because she was just love. You never heard any casting out of this or that, or, you know, and,
Yeah.
or that, and so I totally get it. But I'm so grateful for my Catholic upbringing because it did teach me that there was a divine being, even though I
Mhm.
did agree with their version. So now that you're in science, what is like your favorite quote that that resonates with you that you turn to?
Well, I have one quote that I have really, since I heard it, based my life on. I mean, it's kind of my center point. So it's Dag Hammarskjöld, and it took me a long time to learn how to pronounce his last name correctly. Um, and don't ask me to spell it without looking it up. It is this: to everything that has been, I say thank you, and to everything that will be, I say yes.
Oh,
I love that quote because it puts me in the absolute, to use our teaching. It helps me to stay in that observational mode where I'm not caring if something is good or bad. I'm not judging it. I'm just allowing my life to unfold and to squeeze every drop of good out of it that I can. Because oftentimes things come up and they seem, yeah, no, I don't want this. But then when, time goes by and you look back on your path and you think, oh, if I could go back and change that, I wouldn't because it's what brought me here. So thank you for even that thing that, boy, I did not want in my life. But thank you because it brought me to who I am today. And then when things show up that I maybe again didn't purposely attract or put out for, that wasn't the order I put in. Um, I can say, yes, this is here for me, even if it doesn't at first glance look like that's the case. It is the case. It is the truth. Everything is here for my good. If I believe that and if I name it good, it will be good. And that is a remarkable way to live if you can remember to live that way. And it informs my life, that quote, since
right.
the day I heard it.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna maybe steal that because you know what? That's how I live my life too. I
Mhm.
live my life that there is a divine reason for everything. And I
Yes.
remember somebody asking me, well, if you had to change anything in your life, what would you change? And I too said nothing. Because
Mhm.
if I changed, like if I had gone to, like, I didn't go to college, but if I would have done this or I would have done that
Mhm.
instead, I wouldn't have the children I have today.
Yes.
My whole life would be, you change one
Yes.
little thing and you're on a whole different path. So,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
And
and I wouldn't risk the life that I have for anything.
no,
I would not change a thing because maybe I would have not ended up with the husband that I have or the friends that I have or the pups that I have, and I love my life.
yeah,
So, no, it's all good, and some of it was really tough. But
right,
even that, I say, how can I bring that, what I learned from that and what I experienced, to my ministry now?
right.
There's a level of compassion and understanding that wouldn't be there had I not gone through the things that I've been through.
Right. Well, so it's even like with our pandemic right now with
Mhm,
coronavirus, we can look at all the inconveniences
mhm.
or whatever, or we can find the blessings in this,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
it gives us an opportunity to slow down,
Yep.
go within, contemplate what is important. And, so yeah, we can focus on the negative things, but we're creating it, right? And so
Yes.
the more we're in gratitude, that's, I feel, is the most powerful, um, po- next to love and gratitude, that what
Yes.
you appreciate, you get more of.
Yes. Absolutely, and this pandemic is a great, it really has given us all an opportunity to see, do we react or do we respond? What do we believe is true about life, about our life? I mean, for me, I'm I'm enjoying myself. I'm loving this time at home. I miss my friends, I miss hugs. I mean, I miss all the
Other things,
things
right,
everybody else misses. And I don't want to forget that there are people that are suffering through this. But
absolutely,
in my personal world, I have just decided to squeeze every drop of good out of it for myself, to take advantage of this time. It hit right towards the end of our ministerial class, and I thought, oh, perfect. Now I have no choice but to stay home and study. You know, I won't get distracted. Thank you, universe. I'm very focused right now on what's in front of me. S-
right.
You
Yeah,
know, and
that
that
worked out great then.
it did, it worked out really well for me, and, so, that's I think when we're under stress, our true beliefs come to the surface.
Right.
So these moments of stress, give us a glimpse as to what we're really believing. Have do we have something in there that we're still isn't quite working for us?
Right. So do you think when you found Science of Mind that like you said, it just like, oh my gosh, then did it even like support you even more in what you believed that, was maybe there, but it actually like, oh, I'm not alone. These are my, like you said, my peeps and so forth.
Yes. I
Yes.
think what it gave me was an ability to use it consciously. So you can have an awareness of oneness, but have no idea what to do with that. You can kinda and I don't think I got the cause and effect piece. A matter of fact, I'm pretty clear I think I was beginning to get it. I kinda was starting to wake up before I got into this teaching, but I didn't get it consciously, and I didn't know how to use it. It was like, wheeling a tool, It's like no one taught it's like getting in a car and never, not knowing how to drive, never
Right.
having seen a car
You
before. You
right, you
might hit a few trees. Yeah, you might be bouncing off of stuff, and Science of Mind was like the driving lesson. Said,
right.
"Here, no, no, there's a key, you point the car forward, and there's a
There's a
map of
gas,
how to
there's a
get."
brake. Right,
Yeah, it gives you a map of how to get from where you are to where you wanna be
right.
in a really clear and simple way. It's
Yeah,
usable. It's
very
meant to be
it is
used, not just
yes, yeah.
understood. And that's my
No, no.
ministry. I mean, that's really what excites me is I love the application of it. Are you using it? Are you demonstrating at the level you want to demonstrate it? And if you're not, then let's look at that. Let's learn some new skill sets. Let's apply this. Let's practice it and get support. And that excites me.
Right.
That's my joy.
Right. Yeah, I think we've spent, and I'm even looking at that myself in what I'm working on, teach thinking of what I want to work on. And it's like it's great to understand the principles and
Hmm.
hear somebody give the lecture and like, oh, it's
Yes.
like when The Secret came out, and the
Yeah.
law of attraction. Well, that's great, but just to think something and then go about and be mad or angry, you really
Yes.
have to work it, right? You've got to
Yes.
go within, do the principles. And
Yes.
that's what this is a great opportunity right now for people to really work their principles.
Yes, absolutely. We have a joke in our little group that, if you go out to brunch and something comes out of your mouth that is kind of incoherent, it's like, well, church doesn't last long with you, does it? It's a joke. It's a little loving reminder that, okay, just because we've left the building,
Right.
let's it's still the lots followed us out the building.
Yeah. It's one thing to come in and feel good and hear a great message, but then when they drive off the parking lot,
Yes.
are you,
Yes.
it's a good reminder, but you have to do the work, right?
Yes, yes. Or you can get a car like mine whose license plate says love only, and then you really have to behave when you're driving. Don says, I don't like driving your car. So
Yeah. Yeah, because people see and say, "Oh, that's love only."
exactly. I'm very conscious with, I hope I wouldn't, be mean to anybody anyway, but there's a definite added level of paying attention because of my license plate.
Right. Oh my gosh. So would you think that your aha moment then was that moment as a child when you had that experience? Or did
Well,
you
it was one. I think it planted, I would say it planted a seed. No, it watered a seed within me. That
Mm,
seed was already there. Um, I think my aha moments came fast and furious after I read Maria Nemeth's Energy of Money, because I was already in science of mind. I learned the principles, I was understanding it, but I wasn't quite able to apply it consistently. And what that book did for me, it wasn't really about money. It changed my I learned to observe. I learned to pop myself out of whatever was happening in the world of effects. It taught me a kind of a way to go to the absolute and to be looking, as we said with that quote earlier, to be standing above my life and looking down and going, oh, mm," or yay, with a very rather than reacting, responding. It gave me the ability to respond to my life and to shift things as needed to be shifted without a lot of banging of head or gnashing of teeth. with some ease and grace, which is Maria's big thing. So that book came to my center in Sierra Madre, and we were required. It was required of all board members to read that book, and
Ooh,
then they brought a coach in.
what's the name of that book? I need to
The
write.
the the energy of money.
Oh, okay, good.
And they brought a coach in from the Academy of Coaching Excellence to work with our board. And I remember watching her, and we were we were having some issues, let's say, and it was a little contentious, right? And so she came in, and within 5 minutes, everybody was laughing and lighthearted, and we were so certain we were going in one direction, and we ended up in a completely different direction. And I just started observing her and going, what's she doing? How did she do that? What just happened? I was very confused by what I was witnessing, and but yet excited about it. So I asked her, I said, "What did you do?" And she said, "Oh, come take a course up at the academy and you'll find out." And so I did. I went with somebody and ended up going through the entire training program because I was hooked. And even when I got there, I was watching Maria going, "What is she doing? She's doing something, but I can't figure it out." And I had to keep going a few levels before she taught me, what she was doing. But
Uh-huh.
it was that from that moment on, ooh, all of a sudden there were aha moments all the time because I began looking for them. I lived in the land of aha. Oh, I see how I created that now. Yeah, okay, I get that. I see that.
Valuable.
I could look and discern what I was believing by being in that space. Your beliefs what must I believe in order to attract this? That's a great question.
Right.
That makes you it invites you to drop down and to really look. And it's very spacious. There's
Uh,
no judgment.
no.
It's just what must I believe in order for this to be true? That's one of my favorite questions. And I
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of favorite questions, but each one of them asks me to observe rather than analyze. That's the key I'll give y'all. Come
Mm,
up with questions that invite you to observe, not analyze. Analyzing is good, but it will only get you so far. And it brings in a lot of like I would never whoops.
sorry about that.
That's
I turned
okay.
my phone off.
That's okay. I'll take a second to see if we have any questions.
Okay.
Oh, nope, just comments so far. But please ask questions if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Please, I'm so engrossed in what you're saying that I didn't even forget about those questions. Oh, yeah. So observe.
Mhm.
What you're saying is to observe, and
Yes.
and so when you observe, what are you okay, you're looking at a situation and you're just observing it, no judgment on it at all.
Yep. And you're trying to see what's there for you.
Mm.
in a very spacious, loving way. And when you analyze, it's kind of a psychological thing, right? You're looking at how you feel about it. And you'll never hear me ask somebody how they're feeling, because your feelings, they're important, but they change, don't they? Depending on how well you slept and what you ate.
Right,
You had a bad night's sleep, you ate a bunch of sugar.
right,
You're going to feel very differently when a situation pops up than you would if you were well rested and ate healthy. So your feelings, they're important, but they're not always a great gauge.
right,
And
right.
those are
So what's your
psychological
gauge
questions.
then? Do you have a gauge? So what, so you're just into your observation at all times, basically?
I try to stay there as much as possible. Of course, that's
We're
not.
still human, right?
But here's the thing, I've trained myself that under stress, that's my go-to. It took a lot of practice, right?
Uh-huh.
That would be my go-to. So let's say something upsets me. Rather than reacting, I take a breath and I go off by myself and I say, all right, what is there for me to see here? What must I have been believing to attract this? Um, and usually I land on, okay, this is here for my good. Now what do I do with it? I can move myself along that conversation fairly quickly. And it's wonderful in relationships because you're not expecting the other person anything. You're not expecting anything. You can legitimately be with them because they have their own answers. They're whole and complete just the way they are. Their journey is their journey. Those are interesting things to know about somebody, to
Right,
hold in your mind and in your heart. And then you stop trying to fix people. Because
right.
if you're trying to fix people and give them the answer, beneath that is that they're broken. And guess what? If you think that about somebody, whether you say it or not, they will feel it.
Yes,
They
that
will feel it. And that changes the energy between you. If
right,
there's one thing I can say that changed my relationships, it was this whole observation and then looking at, what must I believe in order for this to be true
right,
for me?
right. And then don't you find too that then when people tend to notice or observe, but get hooked onto that opinion, that psychological opinion, then that's all they see,
Yes. And
right?
you can observe that you have it. You're still going to have it. None of this negates monkey mind, really. It doesn't. Monkey mind's there, but now you're watching it and you're going, oh, that's monkey mind. You're able to discern that I'm having a monkey mind fit right now. And if you see that and it's really truly a monkey mind fit, I don't know, it kind of almost amuses me a little
I was
now.
gonna say it's kind of funny, right?
It
Right,
does. It makes me laugh because I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's monkey mind, and God, it's really, it's just jumping up and down right
right.
now."
And you know what? And if you know that, it's okay to have fun with it for that
It
moment, right?
it is. I get a kick out of my monkey mind. I really do, and I think I exhaust my monkey mind because it can jump up and down all over the place, and I just go, "Yeah, yeah, that's nice, nevertheless," and it's like, "Mm, I'm trying to get your attention here." And it's like, and in a deep appreciation for monkey mind, right? Because monkey mind is really, technically it's our amygdala. And
Right,
that we were designed to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves safe. That's part of our brain that keeps us safe. And
right,
so right now, we're not getting hunted. We're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. It doesn't know what to do with itself. So it looks for everything that can possibly go wrong. And it sounds the alarm in this big, and it has no sense of proportion.
right,
None. Right?
right,
Saber-toothed tiger, somebody insulted you. Same
right,
thing. Same reaction. There's no proportion there. And so, if you get to know your monkey mind, you can almost be amused by it. And it's also a sign that, something's coming up that I need to look at. So when
right,
my monkey mind comes up now, I get excited. I go, yay, monkey mind's here. I'm up to something big. I'm about to step into, you know, um, doing this thing with Dr. James.
huh,
How could I not have a little monkey mind? But that's a good thing. It's telling me you're about to step out of your comfort zone. uh,
right,
Being in ministerial class. Oh my goodness. What am I doing here? Monkey mind's like, run, run. Why are you hear these people are so brilliant. Oh my God, you'll never swim fast enough to keep up. Da 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 da. That didn't go away. I
Mhm.
just went, "Mm, thank you for sharing."
Right.
Patted on the head, and nevertheless, I'm going to show up for class.
Mhm. That's that's wonderful. So tell us, so I mean, you've shared so much, but are there like five things that you'd really like to share? Like, how long have you been? Tell them. I think the story about you and your husband is pretty fascinating. How? 'Cause-
Oh, well, we met at church, which is really cool.
uh-huh.
I highly recommend that. I mean, it's just so of all the places that we could have met, to be on the same spiritual path
Oh,
was wonderful. And we were at a little center, under 100 people, 50 to 100, it varied. And so it was a pretty close knit, really, really close knit community. We did just so much fun things together. And that's where I met Brian Miller and Gilmore Rizzo from our center. So, I made some great friends there that are lifelong friends,
was that
besides
when you were at Sierra Madre?
it was Sierra Madre, and then later it moved to Arcadia.
But who was your spiritual leader there?
My first ministers were Reverend Michael Spear and Reverend Mary Beth Spear, and
Yeah,
they co-led that center.
I remember
And
that.
it was really Michael who I don't, I had just moved to California. I was coming out of being very ill for a long time, being agoraphobic, really agoraphobic, like not leaving my house for a decade. Uh, I was kind of a mess, and I took a big leap to get out of that by moving to California. And I came into the center and immediately resonated, but I was still there was still some stuff I had to work out, and especially with relationships. I think after I came to the center, I said to myself, I got that I needed to be the person I wanted to attract. It had nothing to do with anybody but me. And so I stopped dating. I stopped even looking. I actually said, I'd rather be by myself than in another bad relationship. And I'm just going to take a breath here and I'm going to work on me. And if I meet somebody, okay. If I don't, that's okay too. I mean, I really had let go of any attachment to that outcome.
Mhm.
And it was Reverend Michael who, for some reason, he saw something in me, and he was kind enough to let me know that.
Aw,
Um, I would, and he was a hugger. He was just a cuddly man and sweet. He was just such the heart of that ministry, whereas Reverend Mary Beth was the brilliance and the mind, right? They made a great partnership. But I remember Michael hugging me and whispering in my ear, "Someday you're going to be the president of our board." And this was pretty early on, and I
like
thought
God bumps.
I thought, "Oh, no." No, I don't see that, and I don't even s why would you want me on your board? And, but I dove in and I did all the work and eventually was on the board and eventually was board president, and then they left. They left us.
I remember that.
Now what?" And we went 9 months without a minister.
Wow.
So that was incredible training ground for me, to really see thank God we had a great administrator. I mean, like Elizabeth
Right, at our
level, that everything's gonna be handled and okay. But there were a lot of things to consider, and that was a great training ground for me as a future well, I guess I wasn't a future leader at that point. I guess I was a leader. Um, so yeah, Reverend Michael, I
where
got a chance.
where did they go to? Did they go
They're
to
they're in Illinois.
okay, I
And
remember they
they're on the board of the Independent New Thought, yeah, and so they're still out there doing good work, and I got to see them, I think maybe about a year or 2 ago, they were out to visit, in Pasadena, and we saw 'em, and I got to sit with Michael and share, how much he influenced my life, just that little you never know,
right.
you never know. You see something in somebody and you share it with them and you whisper, and maybe they don't hear it in that moment, but
But
it's there. You've
mhm,
planted a seed, and you've opened up that seed starts to crack open into possibility, and they think, "Well, no, no, no," like I did, but then all of a sudden becomes, "Well, maybe, oh, that is for me. Oh,
Right.
that is for me." And it may be years pass, but you never know the power of that recognition of who somebody really is beyond all the relative facts of their life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So then how did Don get into the picture?
So Don was a member of the church with his wife Jeannie, and very interesting because we didn't really meet, which was odd. Because it wasn't a real big church. Like, I knew them, I knew they were there, but I didn't really get to know them. I think at that point, I was pretty busy. I was like, I was running all I was doing the newsletter, I was doing the marketing, I was doing this, I was doing that. I had a hand in everything. I threw myself in just, feet first. And after Jeannie passed, she was very ill at that time. Then I met Don, and there was just a real instant recognition, like, I recognized him right away, and I there was something in me that just knew, and yet it did not feel ro it felt right, but up here intellectually, it was like, "No," because, he had just lost his wife, and so even though I felt that wave of, "Pay attention here," I dismissed it, but I couldn't dismiss it. And eventually, we became friends, and then the rest is history, as they say. A year or so later, um, we started dating like a year after that, and then got engaged and got married. So it'll be 14 years, and in September. And my best demonstration, my
Oh,
best demonstration by far.
oh.
By
So I
far.
understand you're a grandma too.
Well, and that's just part of that great demonstration of marrying Don. I never had children because I missed a big chunk of my life. Being sick and agoraphobic, it did not, it didn't lend itself to being a mom. And by the time I moved out here, I was starting to get a little long in the tooth, and I also had a lot of work to do on myself. And I wasn't dating, so there was that missing piece as well. Um, but I always wanted to have grandchildren. I thought, well, okay, I can accept I'm not going to have children, but I want grandchildren. And I actually thought to myself, my ideal thing would be to marry a man who has grown sons, because daughters, they very kind of judgy on who their dad gets involved in with. And so I thought, oh, that'd be perfect. And sure enough, Don has two sons, and they are married to two wonderful women. They're both just that talk about a no drama family. It's just all good. And so they're raising wonderful kids. So we have five grandkids. Jacob and Jordan are the oldest, and they are both at Annapolis now, which we're
Wow.
so proud. Jacob got in, and Jordan went, you're getting like an amazing education for free. Maybe I'll think about that. And then he applied. He got accepted to Annapolis and West Point,
Wow.
and he chose Annapolis, and he's just finishing up his plebe summer and going into his midshipman. And Jacob is a junior now. And then we have three girls: Samantha, who is 15, and Emmy and Julia, who are 13. And it's Jacob, Jordan, Julia. The J's are one family, and then Samantha and Emmy are another son. Um, and they're all just wonderful, not a clunker in the bunch,
Yeah.
all really smart, all really have great, loving personalities. Our youngest, Julia, I learned so much from her when she was little about how to show up for life. When she was really small, she was delighted by everything and always in a good mood. So we would take vacations with them because they live on Oahu, so we don't get to see them too often.
But
But when
that's
they come
I'm so sorry for you to have to go there to visit.
Actually, we like it when they come here because then we get to do like Yellowstone and Canada, and they've gone on some great vacations, and we just tag along. We're so happy to just get to spend time with them. But Julia's just this and she's still delightful, even as a teenager, but, no matter what we did, she'd go, "Oh my god, I love this." We'd be on the bus. "Oh my god, I love the bus. Don't you love the bus, Grandma Lori?" "Yes, I love the bus, Julia." We'd be out, "Oh my god, I love this. Look at this. Isn't this wonderful?" "Yes,
Oh,
I love that." Everything was, "Oh my god, I love this. Isn't this the best?" And I thought, I need to hang out with this kid more, and I need to adopt that attitude about life of just don't let me ever lose my, "Oh my god, this is the best," even when I'm riding on the bus, which, to be honest, I probably would not have thought, "Oh my god, this is the best," had I not been sitting with Julia.
right,
And I remember we got caught in the rain on that vacation, and she was really short. The other girls are very tall, but poor Julia, they're the same age. She'd come, they'd all meet each other, and she'd do this. "Oh my god, I'm short." Literally a foot difference between the 2 13-year-olds. And, anyway, it was pouring rain, and she was getting pummeled from above, but because she was so short, the water was splashing her back up from below, and she just laughed and played and just was sa "Isn't this wonderful?" It's like,
right. If we could
"Yes,
just
it
be like
is."
children, right? I mean, that's the
Yes.
beauty. It's like everything they see, I mean, when
Yeah.
my granddaughter visits, when I see them, everything is like, oh,
Yes.
and life is wonderful. And we just start taking things for granted,
Yes.
like the beauty of this desert. I look out here and to see the amazing mountains and the beautiful trees, and we don't get excited like we did as a child, right?
Yes, I really work on that. It is
Yeah.
beautiful here. I never thought I would live out here. It was almost like an accident. I mean, we came to visit our friends and we thought, oh well, we were buying a property in West Hills and we had been looking at various lots and everything kept falling through and we were a little frustrated and we came out here for the weekend. We said, let's see what our money can buy here. And not in my mind at all that we would ever move here. No, hot, no thank you. I wanna move towards the beach. I was hoping to move towards Westlake Village, so we didn't have to drive 100 miles to go to church.
Right.
Um, and we walked into this house and I saw the pool. I walked in the front door, out the back door and went, "Oh, a pool. Oh, this is my dream house." And Don goes, "Okay, good. Let's get it." And I was like, "What?" 8 hours later, Dr. Laura, we owned a house out here and never discussed like, do we even want to move to the desert? We just,
Oh,
something felt right and we did it. And here we are. And I, there's no part of me that ever doubts that this is where I was meant to be. And
right.
I was open to just saying yes. It showed up and I said yes. And oh my goodness, what you can the lifestyle you can have out here versus Los Angeles is amazing and I'm so appreciative of that. And we have community here. In LA, it's very difficult. You
Yeah.
have community, but it's an hour and
They're
a half to
all
go
over.
do anything. And nobody wants to come visit you when you live in the wrong valley.
No.
We were in San Gabriel and everybody else was in San Fernando. And it's like, oh, you live way out there. Nobody wanted to come. And so we had to drive, sometimes 2 hours in traffic to do anything. We live so far from a 100-mile round trip from our church. So going out there during the week in traffic,
Forget it.
forget it. And Don was driving 2 hours to go to work,
That's not
so
living. That
no.
is not living.
So all of a sudden we got here and it's like,
Yeah.
yes, 10
Yeah.
minutes from church, no more driving to work. What do we wanna do now? Let's play, let's have some fun.
Oh, yeah, uh, I agree with you. It's beautiful. But I've been here since 1976.
Whoa.
And I came from San Diego. And it was funny because my husband and I pinky swore we would never leave San Diego because we love San Diego so much, the weather and everything. And in fact, I remember one time we were driving back. I think we went to the river or something, maybe at Lake Havasu, and we drove through the desert. And I go, who would ever want to live here? And I was raised in Simi Valley. I said, Palm Springs is just like a glorified Simi Valley, big deal. I don't know what the big deal is. And it's just interesting how it all worked out, how I got here. But and so and I thought I'd only live here a few years and then I'd go back to San Diego and never left.
Yep, there
Never,
you
never
go.
left. And it is a beautiful valley. And yeah, I tease that I used to work in court in Indio, and I'd have to drive to Palm Springs because I need a reporter. And literally from Indio to Palm Springs, it would take me a half hour. Not anymore.
Oh, but still,
Yeah.
45 minutes to go anywhere.
Oh,
We are in heaven. We are
yeah.
in heaven. Just that alone is worth the price of the ticket. Yeah.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about what your ministry, you foresee your ministry at the center to be. Talked all about your personal stuff and your great spiritual stuff, but what do you see? Like given us a class outline, which I think I'll even take that class when you have it, but we have to get it approved by the group. But so tell us what you foresee your ministry to be.
Well, I know I'm going to get involved with some of the technical aspects because I enjoy doing that, and I know there's a need. So I was looking at where can I be a contribution and fulfill a need and have it be something that I enjoy. So I love editing and stuff like that. I love video work. I produced The Energy of Money years ago. That's a whole another story. Talk about monkey mind. Uh, so I learned a lot. Again, I at the time didn't know. Like I just said yes and did it, and I got so many great skill sets from that. Just having that producer sensibility. When we came on today, right? I said to you,
Right.
just adjust your camera a little. Need to frame yourself a little bit. But that's kind of that observation comes out of being a producer. And so, I learned to edit and I learned all kinds of uh different skill sets that I can maybe help with technology. So that's more of a behind the scenes that people probably won't see me doing that necessarily. I don't anticipate becoming a William where Dr. Joe or Reverend Charles is yelling, William, you know, I don't, who knows, maybe someday they'll yell Lori, but right now I think it'd probably be more of a quiet behind the scenes, maybe supporting Jeff in some way because with that man, I
Oh,
don't know when he
God bless.
sleeps. He does so much for us, and he's so wonderful at it. So that's one part of my ministry. And then I love doing I kind of have experience in all areas of church. So, I also enjoy like marketing and newsletters and things like that, but my real passion is teaching and working in small groups, where it can be a real journey together of support. I would love to have, 10 or 12 people who would want to take a journey together and really look at how we can up our application of these principles, who are really serious about going to the next level and are committed to that and willing and just form these kind of groups where we can all advance together and make it not such a quick, just a couple of weeks together and done, but actually a longer program so that you continue to get the support and you have time to look back and say, wow, I have really demonstrated these principles in my life. I think a lot of people, when we say demonstrate, they think about something coming from without outside of them to them, like they attracted it to them. But I look at it as to demonstrate these principles is to take action based on them. Because demonstration's an internal thing, not an external thing. And I think we get confused with that sometimes and we don't talk about it enough. So what would somebody who is financially successful, how would they demonstrate that? What actions would they be taking? And then also, going on an exploration to discover those beliefs that are still running the show that we may not be aware of, learning skill sets so that we can uncover the things that we don't see. Because, if you listen to somebody like Joe Dispenza, 95% of what is running the show is not in our conscious mind. We are not aware of it. It's all below the surface. So it's almost like a little fishing expedition tradition. Um, I like to say, I love that story, and I know Dr. Joe has used it as well. It's the fish swimming in the water. You know, it's swimming along and it swims up to another fish, and the fish says, you know, how's the water? What water? You know, I don't know. I don't know that I'm in the water. I can't see the water because I'm swimming in it. And so you need to get some height and look down and go, oh, water. And that's what we do with our beliefs. Can we
Mm,
support each other to hop out of the water we're swimming in, look down and go, "Oh, there it is." And if you see it, you'll know what to do. We
right.
think it's hard. It's not. You just know what to do automatically once you see what's running the show. You know where to go. You know what your next step is. But I think we need support in that until we build our muscle, until we build our, as Dr. James would say, our mental muscle.
Right.
You know, it's a practice, and to be able to be in a group that did it for a longer period of time would be my dream contribution. Teaching, yes, definitely. One-on-one spiritual counseling, spiritual coaching. You know, I'm a coach as well. So I'm really good at straddling the metaphysical and the physical. Like, where do you do your work over here in the metaphysical realm, the treatment, the consciousness work, but then also how do you now demonstrate that in physical reality? And it was, as a coach, I had the physical reality down. I understood the metaphysical. Now, as a practitioner, I have the both pieces, and that's my ministry, is I want to share something that's maybe a little bit different, you know, that comes at it from a little bit of a different perspective, some skill sets that I don't know that we're talking about a lot in our teaching.
Right. I agree. It's so weird that you're saying that because that's the download I've been getting,
Mhm,
that we really need the tools. It's good
mhm,
to have the philosophy and the understanding, but if you don't work it or know how to work it, it's not
yes.
doing you any good. It's just a good story,
It
right?
is, it's a fun thing to do on a Sunday, and then you go have brunch, and by the time you get home, you know,
You're already yelling at the
y
drivers down 111.
exactly, and that's, you know, it's incumbent on us in this teaching to live lives that everybody else goes, "Oh my god, I want what they have."
Right.
That is so important because that's how we grow the teaching. And
Yes.
this teaching now, more than ever, has something to offer the world,
The world.
the
The
world. And it's not bringing it out and saying, "Oh, this is the right way." You know, this is it. It's being it. We do that by shifting ourselves and being what we want to see in the world. We say that all the time, be the change you want to see in the world. Well, there's a way to do that. And if you're walking around and you know,
Mhm.
you're not
It's
being it. You
wondering.
haven't gotten it. There hasn't been a click yet. And you'll know when something shifts for you, there's a little click that happens, and all of a sudden, nothing's ever the same again, and you've just leveled up your life in a way that's like, okay, now we're going to have some fun.
Right.
Should be fun. We should be having a ball with this teaching. We get to create whatever we choose, whatever internal experience we choose. What could be more fun than that?
Right.
It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be suffering, and because how you take the journey is the journey. And God, I think we forget that sometimes.
And we came here to have fun. We volunteered
Yes.
for this, right? I wanna go.
Yes.
I wanna go, right?
Thomas Troward, the only purpose to life is to enjoy. And when I read that, everything inside of me, like this weight came off of me, and I went, oh my God, really? It never even occurred to me.
Yes.
How could I have missed that? Why did no one teach me that life was supposed to be enjoyed? I completely missed it. And
Yeah,
once I saw it, I went, I don't have to anything.
right.
You know, maybe taxes, but I
But
really don't have to.
even taxes, you
It,
could look at as, I'm grateful to be
Yes.
in this country. I'm grateful for the things that I have.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about what do you bring to the things that, are part of life, laundry and dishes and taxes and
Right.
whatever it is.
We don't focus on those things, right? We
No, or or be grateful for them like you said, right? You
right,
write that check, thank you that I have the money in my account to pay for this.
right. All
Um,
right, Lori, our time. I'm seeing our
oh,
break.
that went by so fast.
It went by so fast. It was so fun speaking with you. And
Oh,
please don't forget to hit, there's a blue button there to donate, to support us so that we can continue to bring you these programs. And Lori, I'm looking forward to your teaching. It's really, I haven't really had a chance to talk with you like this. So I am so grateful that I got this interview. And
oh,
and so tomorrow, Reverend Charles isn't here, so I'm going to be doing the talk, and I'm going to kind of tell about my spiritual journey and how I got to be where I am and find this teaching and so forth. And I love
wonderful.
that's one thing I love to always ask people, because this isn't like your mainstream, especially our generation. Maybe for my kids, yeah, but
Yeah.
our generation, it's not. We usually are brought up in other faiths. So, Lori, I looking forward to your teaching. I love the consciousness that you bring to the center. And oh, somebody asked so real quick, did you have another career before? What was your career?
Yes, I'm a coach, and also I was a caretaker like Brad,
Oh,
for a elderly woman that just kinda happened. I met her when I first moved to California and needed, some part-time work, and then as she aged, eventually Don and I moved in, to her back house and I cared for her full-time,
yeah,
at that point, so yeah,
that's a wonderful thing to do. So.
yeah.
Lori, it's been fun. I hope you had fun.
I
I
did!
know I had fun. It was fun speaking with you.
I
Lo-
was really excited to spend this time with you. I woke up and I was just like, "Yeah, I get to talk to Dr. Laura." I knew we'd have a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we know a lot of the same people too, and they're all
Yes,
fabulous. So
yes,
anyway, everyone, Lori, Jeff, thank you for being in the background doing what you do all the time for us.
yes.
Thank you all for joining us. And just remember, what you give always comes back to you, pressed
Mhm.
down and overflowing. So we bless all of you, and you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.